Welcome back, everyone. So, in going through the questions on that from that Instagram post, one of the ones that was pretty common was, "What do you do when life seems too overwhelming?" Or "What do you do when you're stressed out?" Personally, now that I'm a mom of 3 kids, I feel like there's always a pretty good reason to be stressed out all the time. So for me, it's not how do I uh, vanquish stress, because I don't think that's actually possible. It's more for me, how do I manage my stress? Because sometimes I think stress actually can be a good thing. It can be motivating. It can help me get things done. But sometimes it is straight up bad. And first of all, I really try to balance out my commitments, like balance, maybe that's not the right even word, so much as weigh what is going to make a big impact. What is really important to me? Is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this worth my emotion that's going to be put behind it? So I try to make decisions based off of that. From there, I try to also manage my stress by having like healthy just lifestyle practices. So for me, one of them is working out. I really enjoy working out. I am not a trainer. I am not like a professional athlete. In fact, last night my husband and I were talking. We had his brother and his brother's girlfriend around for games, and we were talking. She's like, "Oh, so do you like sports?" I'm like, "No, I'm not athletic at all." And Matthew's like, "Yeah, she's not." I was like, "I'm fit. I'm not athletic." Yeah, I am not great with sports, but I like to work out, and I actually really love to run. So I have a Peloton that I probably run on 6 days of the week. And that helps me. It kind of sets my day up. It kind of helps me relieve whatever stress or pressure I felt from yesterday, or if I wake up feeling nervous or anxious, or I've got a big day ahead of me and I feel like I need to boost my energy, I go for a run, and that helps me either relieve my stress or anxiety, or it helps me boost my mood, or helps me feel like I'm capable. It makes me feel like I can go out and do this. Maybe it's the endorphin high, I'm not sure, but I love it. It makes me feel more confident. Like if I can achieve a run, then I can achieve anything. And so I do a lot of running. I do a lot of working out. I also I find myself deep breathing a lot, and I don't have any specific deep breathing exercises. I just know that when I feel stress or I need a second, I usually find myself breathing kind of shallowly. So I'll consciously think about my breathing and just try to do some deep breathing, and that usually helps me with my stress. And I remember when I was a student in college, and I would have an exam, and maybe I didn't feel like I was prepared or I wasn't ready for it, which, believe it or not, there were plenty of exams that I was not prepared for. And I would get so worried. I think, oh, my whole grade hinges on this, or half my grade hinges on this. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do if I do poorly on this? And I would actually remind myself, pass or fail, Elizabeth, this one test does not make you a bad person. The sun will rise tomorrow and you will still be a good person. If you have to retake this class, it's not the end of the world. If you have to work a little bit harder, you can do it. You've done harder things. And so I find myself even still thinking that to this day. Maybe I didn't say something quite perfectly, or I made a mistake, or I had no intention of offending someone and I accidentally offended someone, or I just feel however I feel, I kind of come back to that same thought and think, I made a mistake, or this is really hard, but this doesn't make me a bad person. The sun will rise tomorrow, and tomorrow's a new day, and I'm going to try again. So it's consciously thinking and reminding myself that I'm a good person. Like I try my best. I feel terrible when I make mistakes. I feel terrible when I offend people. But just reminding myself, I'm human. I can only do what I can do, and tomorrow's a new day, and I can try again. So it's almost that voice of rationality that helps. Also, being being with my husband, actually. He is probably one of the best sounding boards in my life. He is very, I don't know why, but when you first hear people talk about what's your advice for marriage, I feel like there's two comments I hear people say or have said to me a lot, or said to our Matthew and I, my husband and I, telling the husband to learn how to say, I'm sorry, and yes, dear, you were right. And frankly, I feel like that advice probably should be more pointed towards me, because I don't know, for whatever reason, he's always right. Okay, not always. I am right occasionally. But he just is very like clear-headed, and so when I am overly stressed, I talk to him a lot, and he's always a really good voice of reason. He's always a really good sounding board, or just like a pick-me-up, and that helps. Also, when it comes to balancing my life, which I feel like has to do a lot with stress, because I spend so much time in advocacy and in speaking and talking about sexual violence and really hard, frankly, very, very hard topics. When I come home and when I'm around my kids, or at the end of the day, I don't want to think about that anymore. So I never watch scary movies. I never watch movies that make me feel anxious or worried. Honestly, it's usually comedy that I watch, some kind of humor or lighthearted, or something that I can turn on and turn off and not feel like I have to know what's going to happen next, or I'm left thinking about it for days. I mean, every now and then we'll get sucked into watching something and I'll be like, oh, well, what's next? Well, I can't wait till tomorrow night till I can find out what happened next. But personally, I try to stay away from those, because there's enough sad things in the world already, and there's enough things that I feel bad about already, whether it's the suffering of another person or a victim reaching out, or, it's just been a busy, stressful day. Like, I want to take a few minutes to relax at the end of the day, and I want to go to bed on a happy thought, not a nervous or anxious or cliffhanger kind of thought, because then my brain just stays awake all night and I keep thinking, well, what's next? And I need sleep. I'm the kind of person that I am like an 8 hour of sleep kind of person. That's what I thrive off of. That's my best, my golden hours of sleep. So, but also taking time for me, taking time to disconnect, limiting my time on social media, taking time to do the things that I enjoy. These are all kind of ways that, even if it's just 10 minutes or 5 minutes, these are all kind of ways that I deal with stress in my life, or manage stress in my life, even if it's just 5 minutes. And I mean, I don't know any parent, maybe they exist, but I don't know any parent that doesn't occasionally feel overwhelmed or stressed out with their kids. And sometimes I imagine, especially during this last year where we've all been spending a lot of time at home. I mean, my kids are small. They're 6, 4, and 2. They're really small, so they're very, very active, and they're constantly into things. And sometimes there just comes a point where we have to get out, we have to leave the house. And so when it comes to managing my stress with maybe screaming or yelling or fighting over toys or whatever it is, sometimes it is putting the kids in the car and going to the closest park and just letting them run around outside and just sitting in the sunshine for half an hour. And that also helps. So I'm sure this is a topic I will come back to probably many times in the future. Just as I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, these are kind of my first go-to sort of stress relievers. And it's not even so much stress relievers as just constant practice so that I can manage the stress that already exists in my life. So this list is by no way inclusive of everything, and I'm always looking for good ways to relieve stress as well. So if any of you have really good stress relievers, please put them in the comments, because me, as much as anyone, could use them. And thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you next time.